Good morning and welcome to the Delco Show. I'm Tori Fiore, Executive Director of Delaware County's Brandywine Conference and Visitors Bureau, and you're listening to the Delco Show right here on Radio Philly. The Delco Show is brought to you by the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce. Every week we have an interesting guest, and this week it gets very interesting because, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about pizzas and beer. And who doesn't like talking about pizza and beer? But before we get to that, see, that's like a little drum roll, Stephen E. Kessner II, where, you let people climb up to that climax and you don't give it to them yet. We need to thank some of our sponsors. I want to thank Headroom.net. Headroom.net, it's a facility that's luxurious office space in the beautiful suburban downtown business area of Media in Delaware County, right on State Street and Veterans Square, right on the corner. Headroom has, as I said, luxurious office space at very reasonable prices. When you've got to get out of your home office or get out of your regular office, you need a little quiet space, a little one-on-one time with a particular client or customer. It's a great place and very affordable prices by the hour, by the day, by the week, by the month, by the year. Check them out on their website, headroom.net. As usual, our lunch sponsor, we have to thank Primo Hoagies, primohoagies.com on Baltimore Pike and Media. Boy, every week it's an adventure, Stephen E. Kessner. This week I took a peek in the fridge over here at Headroom, and here's what I got out of the three. I know one's a turkey with something or other. Okay, one's a pork. I think it's a pork a Diablo. So there's a hot in there. And then something that looks like either it's called a loose salts or it belongs to a guy named Loose Salts and they screwed the order up. So, or maybe it's low salt. I don't know. But we'll figure it out. But we want to thank Primo Hoagies. And last but not least, folks, we're trying a little something out. We're taking the Delco Show on iRadio Philly, the audio, and turning it into a video on the Delco Show. DelcoShow.com. Take a peek, watch a little bit. Could be fun. You actually may see what we do and who we do it to here on the Delco Show on iRadio Philly. All right, pizza and beer. Ted Volikas from Pinocchio's Restaurant and Beer Garden to go since 1955, right in Media, Delaware County, PA. Ted, thanks for being with us on the Delco Show.
Thank you for having me.
Ted, it lists here on the business card, proprietor.
Yes.
But I would have to say grand poobah, jack of all trades, master of many, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You've been around the horn a little bit, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Haven't been there for the 60 years.
No.
But,
correct.
Maybe in the glint of an eye only. But, nevertheless, Ted, how long have you been involved since you were knee-high to a pup or whatever it is with Pinocchio's?
Since 1965. Mom and Dad purchased it.
Okay, so you were, look, let's knock it off. You can't do this with women, okay, but with men. How old are you?
I'm 63. I started at 13.
Boy, it's radio, okay, Ted? Yeah. Nobody's going to see it. You're 63.
Yes, sir.
So you've been in it for
50
years yourself.
Yes.
Okay. That's a lot of years.
I meant to say I was started at 13.
Yeah, we know what you meant to say, Ted. It started in media. Now, my first question to you is this. You're in an Italian food business, and you're Greek, and the original owners 10 years before that, or 5 years before that, were Jewish.
Correct.
How the hell does that work?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
My dad found this pizza shop that was for sale, and he decided that he was going to get into the pizza business. He actually had a luncheonette down in Springfield, and it was called the M&M Coffee Shop on Woodland Avenue. And actually, some people still remember that.
So he was in the restaurant food business?
All his life.
Okay.
Yes. But not the pizza business. And then he lost his lease, and someone, I think it was the roll man, told him about this little pizza shop in Media that was for sale. Stu Fermel was the original owner that started Pinocchio's in 1955.
So it's always been called Pinocchio's?
Yes.
Okay.
and it's always been called Pinocchio's. And then at the end of his lease, he decided he wasn't going to renew it, and he was going to sell it. Sell whatever business was there. And my dad purchased, and my mom purchased it in 1965, and that's basically how it started. And then over the years, it was just expansion after expansion after expansion.
Yeah. Don't get ahead of the years. We'll get to that in a second. Did anybody ever ask Stu why Pinocchio's?
No, and that's the mystery. Well, again,
So it's a mystery of life. Nobody knows
no
where
one
the hell it
knows.
came from.
No, and again, at 13, I wasn't really concerned about where the name came from. But if I had to get $1 for every time someone asked me that question, I'd be very wealthy. It's
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to suggest to you. Make a story up and stick with it, because
Yeah.
you know what? Never let the truth get in the way of a
Right.
good story.
That's true.
All right? So you can make whatever the hell you want. We have, over at the Brandywine Conference and Visitors Bureau, we just moved into a building and renovated it. That was from 1739.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And there's things in there that I look at and I go, I heard this about this, so I'm going with it. Never let the truth get in the way of a great story. And it's been working. So, okay. So run a contest.
Yeah.
Here you go,
Sure.
run a contest. Where'd the name Pinocchio's come from? Because I don't know.
And there may be people that know, because when now with this anniversary coming up,
Well, you're into your 60th year.
right?
Yeah.
And we're celebrating it. We've already celebrated it, and it was a huge success. But at any rate, talking to people and finding out, how long they've been coming, it's unbelievable.
Well, yeah, you're going through generations.
Absolutely, people have been coming there since 1956, 57. Some people even remember the old owners.
Yeah, and then their kids come.
Absolutely.
And then the kids.
Absolutely.
And then maybe you're up to the kids.
Well, I don't know about that part. But
Well, maybe they're just coming. Maybe they're just coming in the cradles and stuff.
yes.
So, Ted, we learned how it established and everything, but you're an Upper Darby guy,
Yes.
Delco guy through and through.
Yes.
Which is always an added plus, because you can take the boy out of Delco, but you can never take the Delco out of the boy. Is a saying we have here, and it might be universal in Delaware County. Upper Darby, went to Upper Darby High?
Upper Darby High, yes.
Okay, and then where do you live now?
Actually, I live right up in Upper Providence, off of Providence Road.
All right, so you're still,
Oh, yeah.
you're still Delco through and through, and you're a hop, skip, and jump
Oh, yeah, 10 minutes
to
away.
the shop.
Yes.
Okay. Why did you stay in media all these years?
It's a charming little town. It has everything you need,
And it works.
and it works.
Okay, I mean, that's fair enough, because you are, it seems like at one end, you got the townhouse, which has been established since Brooklyn was a prairie, with Babe DiGnazio and everything.
Absolutely.
And then you've got Pinocchio's with the Volikas family.
Correct.
That has been, since Brooklyn was a prairie, on the other end. It's like bookends to this great little town and story in between, isn't it?
That's true.
So you do a lot of walk-in traffic, don't you?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. It's amazing how many people walk, because there's so many apartments, and we've had some of our busiest days, believe it or not, on snow days, because people aren't going to work and they just decide they're coming down to get a beer and a pizza. And and the other problem that we have sometimes is when the power goes out, we still have power, and then the people come in and we're like, hello, you've been here an hour now, because they're like, well, we don't want to go home, we don't have electricity. And we're like, okay, well, that's great, but
Yeah, well, you've become like everybody's evacuated to a school or whatever, a
Yes.
church. They're evacuating themselves to Pinocchio's.
Sure.
Because what are the two staples in life, Ted?
pizza and beer.
Bingo!
Yes, absolutely. But in answer to your question, the town's been great, and we get people from the courthouse, the jurors. They walk down, and there's, as everyone knows in media, there's a lot of businesses here between the attorneys and everything else. And
Oh, yeah, all the shops. Then you
Yeah.
got all the events they do and everything.
yes.
It's a whirlwind.
Yes, and Pinocchio's has been involved with all the. We were actually one of the 6 that were involved with the original food festival, and I think we're up to like 33, 34. And I think in my career, I've only missed one food festival, and that's because I went away or something. I don't know where I was, but
Yeah,
it wasn't
the birth of a child or anything.
No,
That's
no,
not, no,
and that's just been recent. That was just like the 30th or something. I was like, I've done 30. I'm not doing this one. But it's fun. I don't like actually work them anymore. I'm kind of like I sit on my little stool and wave to people and talk to people because I've over the years a lot of people that they just expect me to be there.
Sure.
And so
Sure.
I'm kind of like the picture of
what you do now, Ted, is what I used to do. I had a special events management company.
Yes.
I used to climb and build the scaffolding. I used to build the stages, hang the lights and everything. And then I just over a few years I started to point. And somebody else was doing it.
Yes.
So you're a pointer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Now, you were 13 when you started.
Yes.
When did you make your first pie, though?
Oh, geez. I was, going back and trying to figure out when I started, it was, I was 13. So what did I know? And as I started looking at some of the old photos, I think it was around 16. I started making pizzas when I was 16 years old. And then what ended up happening because again, the town having the trolley was wonderful coming from Upper Darby. I used to take the trolley and
right.
I would work like 5 when I got done school. It's from 5 to 9 because the one and only pizza maker was off. So I would come out on Tuesday and I would work 5 to 9. And of course I worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That was a given. But yes, I think I probably was around 16 where I really started throwing the dough and mastering the skill of making pizza.
Okay. Now we're going to, I haven't forgotten about the beer garden.
Yes.
We're going to get into that into the next segment.
Yes.
But I want to kind of stay with this right now.
Sure.
How many people in the family are still working in the business?
Right now it's my oldest son. Well, actually, yeah, my oldest daughter and my oldest son. My daughter is in charge of all the advertising and all this technology stuff.
Yeah, the social media and everything. Yeah.
She's responsible for all that, plus the advertising, and we call her the controller. She controls all the money,
and she controls the men.
She controls her brother and her father.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they're all called the controllers.
Right.
Yeah.
And she came on board about 10 years ago. After working for a pharmaceutical company in the office, and her education is in finances, so it's kind of like a no-brainer. And then my son, who manages the floor and just basically the day-to-day operations at the restaurant, he came on board about 15 years ago. My son, I guess, was about 20, somewhere in that area, 21 when he started, and my daughter was like 25. And so they're the main staple now. So there's still 3 of the Volikas family operating Pinocchios.
Yeah, and what's good to see with the children, the family, that they've stayed with the business and they've helped expand it, haven't they?
Oh yes. Well, it's quite a tribute to them because they're third generation, and they're very passionate about their restaurant.
Yeah.
And with that. We've just gotten busier and busier, although, you can basically look out onto State Street in this facilities that we're in right now and see restaurant after restaurant after restaurant. And I get a question like, how does this affect you? And I say, we've gotten busier because just more and more people are coming to this great town. Uh-huh. And,
And they're offering a variety.
Absolutely.
An absolute variety because you've got more than just, it's the pizza. It's the pizza, the cheesesteak, the hoagie, the stromboli, all the other stuff you carry. And it's a family place. And it really makes it interesting. But you see a lot's happened. I've seen over the years where, the children take over a business or work and they destroy it.
I know.
And so you count yourself as one of the lucky ones.
Right. Absolutely.
You're like the Trieste restaurant.
Yes.
Up there where Tony took over for Tony.
Uh-huh.
And it's, it did great. So consider yourself one of the lucky ones.
I am very fortunate.
And we'll get into beer as we go into the next segment. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Volikas, proprietor, family, Pinocchio's Pizza, restaurant, and beer garden to go since 1955. The office is 566-4895-610 area code. You can check them out at pinpizza.com. This is the Delco Show. I'm Tori Fiore, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Delco Show, brought to you by the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce right here on iRadio Philly. Ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking to Ted Volikas, who's the owner, proprietor of Pinocchio's Restaurant and Beer Garden to Go. You can give them a call at 610-566-7767 or check them out on their website, pinpizza.com, 131 East Baltimore Avenue, Media, Delaware County, PA. We once again want to thank Headroom, headroom.net, luxurious space, economical cost. Primo Hoagies, got 3 big guys today. Honey, you ain't getting any food from me tonight. I'm not cooking. I did the pork chops last night. You're on your own. And take a peek at the Delco Show, delcoshow.com. It's a video with the audio twist. So here we go. Ted, I know when we speak of dough a lot of times with bankers, we are speaking about money, moolah,
Yes.
Somalians, whatever you call it these days, right? But with you, dough is something to play with.
Yes.
And you've got kids, because it's a family restaurant at Pinocchio's, that are coming in and they're playing with dough. What the hell? Who came up with that great idea? Crazy, but great.
Yeah, well,
It's like, yeah, let's let the kids have dough and throw all over the place. Go ahead, explain this to me.
Okay. Well, again, going back to the start of, Pinocchio's, I guess my dad felt that anything to bring families in was a good idea. So he started giving out little round dough balls to the children to play with while they were, all of us that have had children know that when you're 5 and 6 years old, you get a little antsy. And to keep them occupied, back then we didn't have iPads and iPhones and things of that nature. So we would give them a piece of dough. But it's really funny, Tori, that, a lot of times I'll walk by and the adults are playing with the dough and I'll stop and reprimand them and say, wait a minute, that's for the kids. And it gets a big laugh out of the families. And they're like, oh, we're sorry. I say, would you like your own dough ball? So
Wait a minute, you have the dough right at the table?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Ah!
Yeah, we give them little chunks of dough balls. The waitresses will come up, and if there's 3 children, 2 children, and they each get, it's not maybe like 3 ounces of dough. And like I said, it keeps them occupied. And it also keeps them off the iPads and things of that nature. And but it's funny when you see the adults sitting there rolling the dough, trying to make pretzels and things of that nature.
Ted, you don't think maybe that they've had 1 or 2, 3
No.
or 4 beers, do you?
No, because they get the dough right from the get-go.
All right, you sure they're not coming around there and they,
Well,
dough, let's play with some dough.
Yeah, well, we hope not. We hope that they're not coming in. But no, but they do enjoy it. So we not only do the children enjoy it, but I had 2 women come in one time and they had their children with them and they were coming in for lunch and one of the moms said to me that, and I won't mention names, they said, we gave the children choices of this place, that place, and the other place, and they picked Pinocchio's. And I was like, oh, great, thanks, kids, And she said, do you know why? And I said, no, I'm not sure. She said, they wanted the dough. I said, so the pizza's so-so, but the dough's great, and we all laughed. So
that's terrific.
Well, as a parent, everyone knows you got to keep the kids happy. So if they want to come for the dough, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and it works. So that's terrific. Now, I told you we'd get to it, and we're getting to it right now. Okay, look, I get liquor licenses. I understand what they are.
Yes,
it allows you to sell alcohol and beer.
Correct.
Right, hard alcohol and beer.
Yes.
Okay. And you have a full bar and all that sort of stuff
Yes.
and everything. But, I mean, come on, Ted. A beer garden with over 1,000 beers and 25 on tap?
Yes.
What the? Where the hell? Your place is not that big.
Well, we take every square inch that we can and we maximize it.
How did that come about?
Okay. So, I guess I guess if you back up, in 2010, my son had come to me with this idea of mix and match your own beers. And we were actually one of the pioneers in this. Now, more and more places are opening up. And it was his idea, and he came to me. And at first I was like, I'm not real sure about this, Tim. But, okay, we had an area that originally, and a lot of people may remember this, it was an ice cream shop. And
Yeah.
it's about 800 square feet.
Yeah.
Well, we had closed the ice cream shop, and this room was just sitting empty. And Tim came to me and said, Dad, we can do this, we can do that. And at first I was like, why? And then when he explained about the mix and match, what you can do is you want to buy 1 bottle of beer, you want to buy 6 bottles of beer, you want to buy 7 bottles of beer. But the beauty of that is you can get, let's just say the husband likes a dark Belgian beer and the wife likes a lighter pale ale. So you can mix and match a 6-pack. So you're buying 6 bottles of beer. They all can be different. And the prices range from $2 to $4. And if you get home and you decide that, geez, this beer is horrible, I don't really like it, you're
not stuck with 5 more.
You're not stuck with 5 more. And that's the concept.
That's a hell of a concept.
Yes. So
I'd even do that.
Yeah, and then if we have people that come in and buy 1 beer, or 2 beers, they'll come in and get 2 bottles of beer, and out the door they go. The beer, the whole industry has just changed drastically. I mean,
oh, come on, hey, Ted. I mean, come on, you're old enough. I know definitely old enough because I'm older than you, where you would go into a store, a package store.
Yes.
And the men were buying the bottles by the quarts.
Yes.
I mean, who the hell sees a quart anymore?
We don't have quarts.
Yeah, you don't see a quart.
No.
I can remember the quart of Ballantine or Ortlieb's or Schlitz or Schmitz sitting up there.
Yes.
And they would buy a quart because that's what they drank that night.
Yes.
A quart of beer.
Yes. Yes.
Good.
So, back to the beer garden. Well,
Didn't know there were quarts, did you, Sunshine? Stephen E. Kessler II learned something new today, Ted.
there you go.
There were quarts of beer. They were great. I'm jealous. It was amazing.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't even want to get into the bad kid stories. Now, go.
At any rate, so we actually have 2 areas. Before we open the beer garden, where we have the takeout area where you come in and pick up your food, that obviously you ordered for pickup. And that area now is what we call the staples. You mentioned some of the beers, but we have like the Miller Lights and the
You got your standards, yeah.
And that particular area is 6-packs only.
Okay.
But those people know that they want a 6-pack of Blue Moon or 6-pack of
Sure.
Yingling. They know their beer. They're not concerned about all the different types of brands in the beer garden. The beer garden has its own separate entrance. It's connected on the end at the end of the store, but the customers come in through a front door that's handicapped accessible, and there's 12, maybe 14 doors of beer. And some people spend 45 minutes. You can drink in there. We have a little area where you can stand and drink. Off the tap. We have they rotate. So as the expression is, as the keg kicks, another one comes on. So you could come in and get a beer today, and then come back tomorrow and it'll be gone. But another one will take its place. And
it's a rotating tap system.
It's a rotating tap system.
I love it.
Yeah. I believe there's 5 that stay on. Like we have Yingling on tap and Allagash on tap, and there may be 1 or 2, but they're constantly rotating. So the beer doesn't go stale. It moves very quickly. They now put beer in what we call, sure, you remember the old kegs when we had the keg party.
Yeah.
They were, very heavy and awkward. Now what they're called sixtels. They're a very thin stainless steel container that empty very quickly.
Right. Yeah.
Which is good because then you can, like I said, that the beer's fresh and you're constantly rotating them.
Yeah. They were making half kegs, quarter kegs, baby kegs. I mean, all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
I remember seeing some Heineken ones
Mm-hmm.
that looked like little dwarfs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, but not only the weight of them, it's just everything, where you store them and, what are you doing with them after they're empty and,
Sure, the tap system, everything was just absolutely nuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, and again, flush the tap, keeping a tap system clean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Itself is hard labor.
Yes.
I mean, it's very interesting, but
yes,
you must have. I mean, out of that 1,000, got to be some weird ones in there.
Oh, I can't even pronounce some of the names.
Do some people come in and request it?
Oh, yes. Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Wow.
People come in and
it's like a museum.
It is. Yes, and people will come in. We had a situation. Yesterday. I was standing next to my son, and someone came up, and I thought they were talking a different language. And my son said, "We that beer's hard to get. We get it occasionally." And I'm like, "You're talking about beer?" I had no idea.
So he's the guy I should be talking to.
He's the guy. Yeah, about the beer garden.
Yeah. You
Now,
see, and here's what I know. Okay, I'm a Scotch drinker. I'm sorry.
Yes.
That's because you can tell when people are coming in what they're buying.
Yes.
By the demographic.
Yes.
The older guy ain't getting something that's from Jabip or East Overshoes. He's getting that. His Budweiser or whatever.
That's why we have that. We covered that base too.
Exactly. So your younger guys and gals are the ones that are more adventurous and willing to try stuff.
Absolutely.
So my point being, my knowledge is limited to,
right.
I know a buddy of mine drinks Indian Pale Ale.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
I get it. Okay, that's all he drinks, and he's a pain in the ass. Okay? I know that, and I only did it because I thought the bottle was neat, that I'll buy for like the holidays, for Christmas Eve when I throw my big open house, Grolsch.
Yeah.
Because it's got that old-fashioned bottle cap on it that Canada Dry used to have.
Right. Well,
which was neat. That's how, and I drink a Heineken now and then, and I'm a Rolling Rock guy.
Okay.
So.
But we still love you.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Of course.
We sell all that. We cater to.
That doesn't make you a bad person.
No, we cater to the whole spectrum. That's what we proud ourselves in.
Yeah, Ted, now I know why it's called Pinocchio. Hey, Ted, your nose is growing.
No, it's all true. And then let me just throw one other thing in about the beer garden, which is interesting. A lot of people at Christmas, you mentioned the holidays, a lot of people at Christmas, we had what they call growlers, and growlers is a very large bottle.
Yeah.
Oh, they're in different sizes. My son has like 5 different sizes of bottles, which I don't understand why, but that's okay. So what a lot of folks do is they'll come in and they'll buy a growler. Now, the growler can be anywhere from $10 to $40 on which one you want to buy, and then they get a gift card. And that's someone's Christmas present. Now you say, well, a growler. The growler allows you to buy any of our draft beers and fill a growler.
Wow.
So you could come in and then also once you buy the growler, you own it. So the next time you come in after you've emptied your growler, hopefully it'll be the next day, but that's another story. I've been told that a growler will last at least 3 days in a refrigerator. Because that was one of my questions. I'm like, do they need to go home and drink this right away? My son's like, no. 3 days is probably the shelf limit on that. But by then, hopefully you've drank that, and then you can bring it back in, and we can refill it.
Yeah, it's funny because it's funny you should mention growlers, and that once you buy it, you own it.
Yes.
My buddy was in Vegas years ago, and he bought a growler, ended up owning it for a number of years. But basically back then we used to call that, it was a dog. And that was Vegas. It wasn't a pretty scene.
No.
So, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that's
Ted.
another story.
Nevertheless, Ted, you seem like you enjoy what you're doing for all these years.
Yes.
You're going to do it for as long as you can?
As long as I can get out of bed in the morning and get in there, yes.
And as long as you don't have to memorize
all the
1,000 beers?
Yes.
Okay. Anything I'm missing? Anything that you're famous for, known for, specialty on food, anything like that? Because everybody knows Pinocchios. Oh, that rhymed.
Yes.
Everybody knows Pinocchios. That's a freebie, Ted. You can use it.
Okay. Well, we have an array of food. I mean, the gentleman that does all our prep has actually worked under my dad. He's been with me 35 years. And
God bless you.
We do, well, I'll touch upon my staff. One of our reasons that I feel that we've been so successful is because I have people that have been working for me for 15 years, 10 years, 12 years. They're everywhere. You look around and they're like family to me. And then also we're very price conscious of what's going on in the market, what we should be charging. But like I said, for getting back to what else we're famous for, like I said, a lot of our soups are homemade. We make our own meatballs. We make our own sauces. It's been a family recipe to make the pizza, and that's the one thing we don't vary from. We always buy the same ingredients.
And Ted, it's run by the family.
Yes.
It's owned by the family.
Yes.
It's a restaurant and beer garden for the family.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Delco Show, iRadio Philly. I'm Tori Fiore. See you next week.
Absolutely.